Hey, fellow skeptics. Let's Skeptic Tank here. I guess this would be the second part. But more specifically, this is the $30 haircut that was. In short, I said 3, 2, 1 around the sides. I didn't want the top touched, but I said, trust you to do what you need to do with my head shape or whatever. And so, not that I'm a helicopter person, a micromanager of sorts. Um, I was kind of watching what he was doing with this clipper and took probably more on the top than I wanted. I'm like, okay, it's your opportunity, man. Will I go back to you? Will I request you again? Probably not. Because at least for this barbershop that was, like I said, they vacated the building or space they were renting at the time. Um, they had other people on staff. And I don't know how fresh out of beauty school, whatever, what schooling he had at the time. Whatever. It's all good. But there's probably a reason why I kept going to the Vietnamese mom and pop. Because I think they were more or less solid. There wasn't anything I was grumpy over. It's just, I couldn't. I think they went from 1250 to 16 something. Now, of course, with where we are financially speaking, inflation is a thing. Gotta work with that. And then what have you. So that's a $30 haircut that was, and I don't know if this is any better than. I think on the back, especially because as I was going through the movement, I can hear as yes, people wonder, well, what about the back? Well, that's why I have a hand mirror, which with the mirror side pointing towards the bathroom mirror, so I can see the back. But I could also feel and hear it as I was going through the back. Um, so if there needs to be more corrections, as I was saying in the last video, I can always correct it. Don't need to pay dollars and cents for another visit. So if I were to do the correction again, that'd be my third visit. If I were to go to a paying barber, so that's easily if I do it based off of the pricing of the mom and pop Vietnamese barber, that would be easily $48, and then including tip. Now I know people's got their bugaboo about tipping. I I only tip them just to help cover the processing fee, because it can catch up to folks when you run that card through their POS system. It's like, depending on where you price credit card processing, a lot of it is however many cents per swipe. And so that's why a lot of places are cash only to start. Because if you're going to avoid those processing fees, that means you get more coming into your place of business. So you don't have to worry about, like, however many credit card transactions you do, that can be, that can easily catch up. Especially since the percentage is taken off per transaction for the most part. I haven't really done a deep dive on credit card processing, but I know it can catch up. That's why a lot of small businesses, if they could do it, they would usually do ACH transfers, or TTY was a term that I heard back in the old .com I worked for. So, there's that. As far as what's coming down the pipe, I'm going to just do something real quick. I'm going to grab my dictionary. I'm gonna start using this to gather my terms, and now this is based on the 1978 edition. I eventually wanted to collect not a great deal of dictionaries, but something where the decades aren't too far apart, but something where I can see if there's a evolution of definitions and maybe uses of the terms. So, sign of things to come. So I'm gonna dig up a word. Yeah. Let's see. In this lighting, let's see. I'm getting close. Ah. I like these types of dictionaries because of the ease and the letters that they group. It's easy to get to. And again, if I am in a jam, this is another reason why I obtain physical versions of whatever. I mean, I did buy into the whole convenience, and of course, me being Spartan during my first few years living in this apartment. Um, I liked making the most out of my space, but at the same time, I was gifted a bookcase from a friend of mine. He said, "No one's using it, have it." I'm like, okay. As you see there, I have tons of books. If I'm in a jam, and depending on how soon you need it, like for all the grief I know pawn shops get, and trust me, I've been. It's just a matter of how soon you need the the cash. How soon do you need the money? I have a friend over at church. She runs a little Amazon store, and if there's a book I'm not really using at all, I say, hey, does anybody need this? Especially a lot of the books I have are churchy based books, service books. I think I mentioned that. Service books, prayer books, especially ones because there's only so much that one can have in their possession. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a good book. But if you're just having books to collect dust, then you might want to replace that book with something that you know will not pick up dust or just sit and collect dust. You're going to actually read it. Or if you do find yourself in a jam where you can wait a little bit though, and books are probably, even though for the most part you will get them you will get the buyback or you'll sell them at a loss more than likely. It's just compared to what you might find with other forms of physical media, whether that's book, music, or whatever. Um, Books still have a better payout. So what's that term I'm going to look at? Sign of things to come, maybe? All right. Got to move it into the better light. Getting closer, maybe warmer. Warmer. All right, I'm in the right section. Yes, I am. And yeah, I'll admit the print is a little bit on the small side, but it's okay. Okay. ERA, Equal Rights Amendment. That was the one in caps. But the one I'm looking at is ERA in lowercase, era. Okay. A period of time that utilizes a specific point in history as the basis of its chronology. And in quotations, from this date, 1492, a new era in the history of mankind takes its beginning. A period of time, this is the second definition, period of time that is distinctive or notable because of its new or different aspects, events, or personages. The colonial era of U.S. history. Number three, the beginning of or onset of such a period of time, turning point or milestone. They use the word epoch, epoch. Number four, geology, the longest division of geologic time comprising one or more periods. Synonym, period. So where am I going with this? And I'm glad I have the recording to kind of keep me honest. Now, I'm going to be as, I don't know if delicate would be the word, but careful. I know that there's been buzz around a particular, sorry about that, guys. Just putting the dictionary down. In recent time, maybe in the last year or so, I've heard the buzz via the Capital One commercials. And if there's one thing piquing my ears, or I don't know if it's triggering me, but it does trigger a bit of curmudgeonly mentalities or attitudes. When I sense things are getting a little overhyped, or I just find the hype a little funny. One of them being around the Eras Tour of one Taylor Swift. And particularly with the fandom in the voiceover of these Capital One commercials. Oh, I love her. Wow. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the thing, the point of idol, especially in the pop sphere. This idea of being a pop idol. And it's almost not quite stalker territory, but it's a little creepy in the back of my mind when they find these trivial facts, especially during the Capital One commercial. Room number 13, that's Taylor's lucky number. And I hear that every time, particularly when I listen to sports talk radio. And that might be a video in itself in terms of lack of creativity in advertising. I guess in almost any media nowadays. But especially now that it's getting more buzz since she made buzz about inserting the Eras Tour into movie theaters. And now with the thing about her and Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs, sometimes I just get a little, I don't know, grumpy being the word, but I'm just a little, It's like, I don't want to come off like she doesn't have talent, but my homework assignment will be, and I have plenty of those already. I'm going to have to slog through her discography. I don't know what you guys would think. Maybe I should do I don't know if it's a live stream or if it's a video upload if I want to show my facial reactions to each album, each track even. And mainly this will be done through YouTube Music. The only thing I'm afraid of is I'll get a lot of Taylor Swift based algorithms in my playlist. We'll see. We'll see what, based on my reactions, I might just dislike a track or dislike the entire album. And the only reason why I'm putting this into perspective is, especially when you hear the stuff surrounding the tour, 16 years in the industry. Not that I want to present an adversarial relationship or comparison, one against the other. It's going to be easily taken as that, I'm sure, but I'm going to take someone like, because I think there are a lot more examples of pop artists having done their thing for a longer period of time than the 16 years Taylor Swift has done her thing. So it's just, I would have to slog through all her tracks to see, well, are there distinctive eras when it comes to her discography, if you will. So this could be a fun exercise, but the prime example I want to put, and this is not directly due to retroblasting, but retroblasting has given me some ideas on how to get into someone like Kylie Minogue, because he's at least the one I know on YouTube. I'm sure there are others that are as big a fan of Kylie Minogue to the present day. And just my simple research of Kylie Minogue and her history, if I work off the what I believe is her first album and the year of her debuts per Wikipedia, and I know I got my bugaboos about Wikipedia myself, if she's still active, and I'm just using Kylie Minogue, and I'm saying, there are plenty of other examples, whether domestic. Well, Kylie Minogue would be considered abroad because she's based in Australia, but her reach has been what it is. I'll say more on that later, but if I just do the math, that's over roughly 35, 34 years of time. More than twice the amount of time one Taylor Swift would. Again, I'm trying not to present these as adversarial, but who, based on their discography alone, and like I said, like the homework I'm going to do with the Taylor Swift thing, pray for me. I will listen to Kylie Minogue's as much as I can get through. I don't know if I'm going to go in chronological order, but at least what little I've read when looking up Kylie Minogue's discography and stuff about her tracks, the term reinventing yourself is something that I've noticed. And retroblasting, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how far down history you've followed Kylie Minogue. I'd like to think you are still a fan of hers to this day. And again, if I'm wrong on that, correct me. But again, it's just something that I don't want to put them against each other. I don't think there's any animosity between the two. But I just want to look at it from the standpoint of eras. And are they as distinct? And maybe there will be some appraisal on my part that I might inject an inner Simon Cowell, because I've heard a lot of pop music, and I'll say right away, I like what I like. So there isn't an entire breadth of the pop music industry that I've liked, but there are some tracks I may not have liked as a kid that I come around to, realizing, okay, in retrospect, there's probably more to the track or to the artist. So that's where I'll try to go with it. So that's going to be the journey. At least in that thought piece. Like I said, I have plenty of the thought pieces I have in mind that I'll bring out. Like I said, I'm going to do a better job of kind of spacing out the recordings. Don't mean to bombard you guys, especially those who are subscribed. Don't mean to bombard you in plenty of shots. But if you're into that, cool. As always, I prefer comments, mainly because it kind of helps me tailor my content. Not that I'm going to give in 100%. I will give in what I can. Meaning that I don't mean to pander to the audience, whoever may be chiming in, I'll take that into consideration. If I can pull it off, cool. If not, I'll be sure to let you guys know. So until next video, guys, and I said there will be more coming, but until next video, take it easy, peace out, and I'll catch you all on the other side.